Hey everyone, Caleb from StayLakeNorman here. We are the best in class when it comes to vacation rentals on Lake Norman, and we want to bring you the best in class. So I'm sitting down with the best in the area, where to eat, what to drink, and how to play on Lake Norman. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, I'm back again with another weekly episode of the Lake Norman Experience podcast. I'm sitting down with Laurie Lawrence, one of the owners and the founder of StayLakeNorman. And I know some of you guys who have listened to us have probably heard StayLakeNorman. That's basically who sponsors the podcast and everything. But I wanted to come in here and just give some of those who maybe you don't know about StayLakeNorman just a rundown of what it is and who we are. So, like I said, sitting here with Laurie. Laurie, the first question I always like to ask everybody is, what's your favorite thing about Lake Norman?
Hey Caleb, and thanks for having me on. I was going to say the weather, but I'm sitting here right now, it's like 95 degrees and I'm trying not to do a senior citizen sweat session. So, we traveled, once we moved from Australia, we traveled for 2 years and we saw every state and every city in this country, and we just fell in love with this place. I think, to answer your question, the best, what I love about Lake Norman and I love about the area is it's kind of there or thereabouts. Number one, number two, number three in any given category. If it's weather, it's good. There's better weather, but it's really good. If it's location, it's really good. If it's, lifestyle, if it's lake, if it's things to do, it's close to freeways, it's close to be able to fly internationally from Charlotte Airport. There isn't one area that it struggles in really badly. There's lots of places that are great here, but terrible here. What I love about Lake Norman more than anything else is it's pretty close to the top in any area you could think of, and it doesn't have a particularly really bad scenario apart from I wish our roads kept up with our growth.
Well, it's really interesting you said that. I don't think I've ever thought about it that way. I mean, I can pick out certain things that I love. I love the lake. I love the people. I love certain restaurants. I love being close to Charlotte. But I never really thought about all those things combined being the top or one of the top in the area so that you don't really even have a bad. So I really appreciate that perspective on the area, which I think is why so many people have been coming here lately.
Absolutely. And, there isn't, apart from the airplane flying directly over us on the way to Charlotte Airport, which is the 19th busiest airport in the world now.
Wow.
So that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, an international person looking at things, what's great with an area and what's not, the fact that we can just ride half an hour to Charlotte and go to Europe, direct to France, direct, I mean, that's huge.
It's a game changer, which, like you said, I think it's why so many people are coming here. They're flocking here. They're coming to see the lake, and they're coming to see how close we are to everything and everything like that. So now you traveled the U.S., you settled on Lake Norman, and you got into vacation homes. So why don't you tell us, just for those who don't know, briefly, what exactly is StayLakeNorman?
Well, StayLakeNorman is a luxury vacation rental management company. We're very different to a lot of management companies where they'll just take all properties and any property that is a short-term property, but we have a specific niche where we just represent five-star properties, that we try and stay away from just the masses of typical homes. We specialize in a limited release type product, which is really designed for the top end of the market. And by following that niche, it really did give us a lot more work on the back end to create things and create systems and create services that weren't really necessary for a typical vacation home, but things like putting our own trash truck and our own trash services on, because if you're trying to market a high-end property at $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a night, it doesn't look good to say to those guests, it's trash night tomorrow, can you put 5 cans out? And it looks even worse when you say to the new guest checking in, the following day, it was trash night yesterday. Caleb, can you bring the 6 cans in?
Yeah.
6 cans back in from the road. So a lot of these things weren't really an issue in that, you know, 3 and 4 star market where guests are paying $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 a night. But we didn't realize just how many systems and how to design the back end to create such an exclusive front end. It's been great, and we've put a lot of things in place, but certainly makes it a lot more difficult to run. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, you know, firsthand, I know all about StayLakeNorman. I could probably pitch it just as well as you could if someone asked me about it. But I wanted to have you on to kind of have that backstory, you know, why you landed here and why you created it. You kind of went in briefly about what's the difference between us and other vacation rental companies in the area, and I appreciate that. But you've taken it one step further too. I mean, there's other things that you've worked with, and you've garnered a boat rental company and some other things. So talk to me quickly about what are some of those additional concierge type things that you've given to your guest.
No, absolutely. Certainly on the safety, security, compliance, we've put a lot more work in there. Believe it or not, you know, that there is a potential dark side with vacation rentals. Sometimes, you know, guests can push the rules and make a little bit too much noise and cause a few issues there.
Absolutely.
So we've put a lot of security in place without going into details, with compliance, with, you know, with cameras, with IP tracking, with noise aware. We have our own boat rental company. We put nice high-end tri-tune boats. You know, we only have these boats for our guests. They're not available to the public. So we have a lot of third-party services. There are massage people. We bought into a private chef company which does some very, very high-end private chefing for guests that want that. Also catering if they want a step below. So we're always looking at new things to add and new services depending on what these guests want and need. Part of the secret for that luxury, high-end type guest is they really like the idea of being able to curate these vacations where they push one button, they've got the house they want, they've got the boat, they've got food already pre-stocked and sitting in the fridge, alcohol and massages booked for Monday and Friday. Typically with vacation homes, they only get serviced on check-in and check-out. So a lot of these high-end guests are used to resorts and used to hotels where they're getting daily check-in, daily servicing, daily. So a lot of our guests don't do that, but we have the ability for a lot of these folks if they want. So that's probably one of the biggest difference with what we do versus other management companies. We do a lot more on the safety side. We do a lot more on the compliance side, and we do a lot more on the guest experience side for their stay. It doesn't mean we don't make mistakes, and there's always things we could improve on. But we've really curated a completely different experience, I believe, than anyone else in this area and probably most anybody else in the country.
No, I would agree with that. And like I said, you know, firsthand, I work in it day to day. And I actually had a guest the other day, you know, mention to me that they were explained to them that we were more of a white glove service. And, you know, to hear that in the vacation home space, the STR space, it's not really a common thing. That's a resort thing, right? You go to the Caribbean and, you know, stay at a resort and they're going to give you everything you need just by checking in at the front desk. But, you know, we aim to provide that to our guests.
Absolutely.
So, well, you know, I don't want to take up much more of your time, but if anybody's out there listening, watching, you know, right behind us, this is Lake Norman Getaway. So it is one of our top properties with an exquisite pool and a 3-story deck system you can see behind us. How can someone find this house, find the other houses that we manage, and rent, see pricing, see our concierge services, see more about the Lake Norman area? What's the best place for everybody to go to?
Well, of course, StayLakeNorman.com is where 90% of our marketing is going through, plus all the social media links, and of course you can discuss some of those and Instagram and Facebook, and but StayLakeNorman.com is really your best choice to connect with us. connect with reservations, and hopefully ask the right questions, and we can host you and friends and family for a stay in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll link all those things in the show notes so everybody, you can click through them. And if you want to come check out this property or the 44 other properties that look very similar to this and have that curated white glove service on Lake Norman, or even just check out the area for the first time, make sure you check out Stay Lake Norman. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Lake Norman Experience. Make sure you don't miss another one, so be sure to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Stay Lake Norman, and make sure to follow us and subscribe to the Lake Norman Experience wherever you get your podcasts.